This narrator cannot claim ever to have visited Tuvalu, but it seems like it would be a pleasant enough place to live if you fancy living on your proverbial palm-fronded tropical island paradise with lovely beaches, excellent fishing, diving and canoeing, and by all accounts affable locals. However, given the option of leaving, and for good, roughly 40% of Tuvalu's population of 10,000 odd have indicated an eagerness to go. In June, Australia opened a special ballot for Tuvaluans seeking permanent residency. It has been announced that so far 1,124 applications from individuals and families have been received, accounting for 4,052 people, and the ballot is still open until July 18th. By the time that deadline is reached, more than half the country may have begun hopefully packing their bags. Under the terms of the program, 280 Tuvaluans every year will be permitted to relocate. This scramble for the exit, or at least for the Fiji Airways flights, which via Nadi will take the lucky recipients of visas from Tuvalu's Funafuti Airport to Sydney in 11 hours or so, is not really a reflection on the quality of life in Tuvalu or indeed in Australia, though Tuvalu is a poor country which would be poorer still were it not for the boon of its .tv internet domain, which it leases to television companies around the world and which reportedly generates somewhere around 10% of Tuvaluan government revenue.
We're talking in a matter of decades that entire community and society could be wiped out from the face of the earth.
This would-be exodus is rather a recognition that, on current trends, any life at all on Tuvalu is probably just decades away from becoming impossible. The tide keeps coming in ever higher and is not going back out as far as it used to. 2 of the 9 atolls which comprise Tuvalu's meagre landmass are already more or less entirely under the Pacific Ocean. By the turn of the 22nd century, the other 7 may have joined them. Tuvaluans do not have the option of retreating to higher ground. There isn't any. Tuvalu's loftiest point is about 5 metres above sea level. A brisk survey of Tuvaluan media and politics undertaken for this explainer has not identified any Tuvaluan equivalents of the professional climate change contrarians often found in less imminently imperiled jurisdictions, but if there are any such bloviators in Tuvalu, it would be surprising to learn that they were getting much work or many votes. The Australian visa program is, therefore, really more like the early stages of an evacuation. It is part of an agreement between the two countries signed in 2023 and which came into force in 2024, the Falapelli Union, under which Australia also undertook to respond to any call for assistance from Tuvalu and also to invest in Tuvaluan education, telecoms, climate adaptation and so forth. The agreement also promises to recognise Tuvaluan statehood and sovereignty even in the face of the threat to Tuvalu's physical existence. Tuvalu is already working on a project to essentially upload the nation to the metaverse and somehow continue in the digital realm. Falapelli is a Tuvaluan concept which translates broadly as looking after neighbours as if they were family, and without expecting anything much by way of return. However, foreign policy is rarely directed exclusively by altruism, and the Falapelli Union is not an exception to this rule. Australia is helping Tuvalu to help Australia, and by extension those other Pacific nations unenthused by the prospect of the region becoming too much more of a Chinese sphere of influence. Tuvalu is, in many respects, a natural ally in this endeavour. Like Australia, Tuvalu is a member of the Commonwealth and indeed a Commonwealth realm. Its head of state is King Charles III. Tuvalu is also, along with Australia, New Zealand and Fiji, one of the last non-UK countries which still retains the Union Jack on its own flag, although Fiji has been a republic since 1987. And unlike Australia, New Zealand or Fiji, Tuvalu Tuvalu is among that small cohort of mostly tiny countries, now down to a dozen, which maintains full diplomatic relations with Taiwan instead of the People's Republic of China. Not that China hasn't been trying. In recent years, Beijing has, via a variety of blandishments, persuaded several of Taiwan's former full diplomatic partners in the Pacific to switch allegiance: Nauru, Kiribati, the Solomon Islands. Earlier this year, China spooked the region further by announcing a series of deals with the Cook Islands, which, though self-governing, are in free association with New Zealand, which was not told of the agreements with China in advance. And back in January, Taiwan's embassy in Tuvalu sounded the alarm over a Chinese disinformation campaign in which Chinese state media broadcast footage of Tuvaluans reciting Chinese Communist Party talking points, including the claim that Taiwan is part of the People's Republic. There will be much more of this sort of manoeuvring, and it goes both ways. The tiny nations of the Pacific Ocean well understand that they have become of disproportionate interest to the much larger countries around it. It has become conventional wisdom among them that if they want Australia or the United States to help them with something, just tell them China wants to do it. For Monocle Radio, I'm Andrew Mueller.